Have you got like a fear of public speaking? Maybe something that's happened in the past that causes you to break out in a cold sweat when you think about having to do it again? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you 5 practical tips that you can implement to help you overcome your fear of public speaking. Now, public speaking for many of us is a massive fear, and yet conquering this fear means that we can share our message with the world. We can create an impact on not only our own lives, but on the lives of others, and it's often a doorway to opportunities. It can mean promoting our book, our coaching offers, or being considered for a promotion in the workplace. And it is a skill that we can benefit from greatly when we learn how to deal with the fear that sits behind it. So perhaps you know someone who has experienced their face going red. I certainly have. Or their voice starts to shake or their hands tremble because nerves kick in when it takes time to take that step forward and get onto a stage and speak to a group. Now, that group can be friends, it might be work colleagues, it may be people that you're familiar with, or people that you don't even know. It's situational when this fear kicks in. But the great news is you can overcome your fear of public speaking. And today I want to give you 5 tips that you can put into play. Now, grab a pen or save this video for later if you want to come back and check it out and remind yourself of what to do. Number 1, understand your perception of public speaking. Now, you're not alone in your fear, and quite often fears can make us feel quite isolated and alone. But it's how we frame it. So let's reframe public speaking. It is actually part of the communication group of muscles. And just like if we don't go to the gym and we don't do any bicep curls like this one hasn't done for a while here, our communication muscles can atrophy and get a little bit, well, flabby. So therefore, the thought of doing it, we know that there's probably going to be some pain behind it. We know that there's going to be a bit of discomfort when we start to exercise them. So the same happens with communicating. If we don't keep those skills in condition or learn how to condition them, it feels a little bit awkward and rusty when we first start to do it. Have you ever not done push-ups for a while and then attempted a push-up challenge or something? The same thing goes. So believe it or not, those nerves are generally present whether a speaker is very experienced and takes the stage all the time. And sometimes they can come back to even experienced public speakers if they've had a bit of a hiatus from the stage, or say pandemics have happened and they haven't been able to get into their natural speaking environment often. It's normal for us. So whether we've been practicing something for quite a while and then all of a sudden we get back into it, it takes a little bit to get back into the rhythm. Like any new skill that we learn or any skill that we're revisiting after a big break, it can take time to really calm that inner critic down. Maybe you've got a skill that you've learned in the past that you know that you have had to conquer that inner critic. So for me, it was learning how to surf after I was 40. Each time I'd head down to the beach, that inner critic would pop up saying, "You're too old to do this. You're too overweight to do this. What are you doing? This is for people who are not you." But the great news is, over time, that critic gets quiet. So if you've got something that you've learnt before, maybe you can pop that down in the comments below and let me know what a skill is that you're familiar with. And maybe it's a skill that you want to talk about one day so that we can get to know each other. I'd love to know what your skill is. Number 2, make friends. Now you might be thinking this, what? I'm going and doing public speaking. Why would I want to make friends with people? It's actually a great way to ease your nerves. Quite often when I've run events in the past, I guarantee there are always people who arrive early, the people looking for their seat or the people who don't want to be late. I can be one of those people sometimes too. Is if you are there early and you're in the setup phase and maybe you're not taking time off site to go through your own practice or routine, going and having a chat to your audience can actually be a great way to calm your nerves. It actually does this. It turns your content into a conversation. It allows for a real-time relationship, and it allows you to find a friendly face amongst your audience that you can throw to or that you can look to and that you can get a smile from as you're going through your public speaking presentation. So, really think about that in terms of finding those friendly people as they're coming in to listen to you talk on your topic and how you can actually get them to be your cheerleader within the audience and be that comforting point of contact for you. Number three, charge your confidence. Now, this is one of my favorite tips and something that I learned from one of my favorite speakers, Amy Cuddy. So it's a tip that I share often with my coaching clients who might have to go and do a presentation where they're actually feeling a little bit nervy. Our brains actually get messages from our body and from our body posture. And this is what Amy talks about in her TED Talk. She's actually really delved into the science behind it. So I'll be dropping a link to that resource below. Make sure you go and check it out. It's really interesting. But the key takeaway is how we pose ourselves actually creates a neurological transformation. So she talks about taking on a power pose, and this is what I would speak to my clients about. So whether they're going into negotiations, whether they're going to pitch something, whether they're doing a presentation, to actually find a quiet space to do a power pose before they actually move into this next environment. Now, what that does is it creates some signals in our brains around, I'm pretty awesome. I've got this. I can do it. I'm the king of the jungle or the queen of the jungle, and I am going to nail this. So make sure you check it out. Try those power poses on. They really help in terms of charging your confidence and start to calm your inner nervous center down. Number 4 is dress for attraction, not distraction. Now, this is an important lesson I learnt in my 20s when I was presenting to a leadership team. At that point in time, I was wearing a fitted top and a skirt that once upon a time was high waisted. Due to weight loss, however, the skirt started to drop down, and I found myself in the middle of my presentation pulling my top down, not wanting to expose my midriff because my skirt kept dropping. Now, fortunately, I got some feedback on that. And as much as that feedback was uncomfortable at the time, it really helped me to learn the lesson around considering my wardrobe and considering my audience. Really think about where you may be fidgety, what may be at risk. So, for ladies in particular, if you're a little bit more on the busty side, think about your wardrobe choices and where a potential malfunction can happen. Because the more you address for attraction, and whether it's around using a pop of color, or using a cape or something, think about what you want to play up and what you want to play down so that you can feel confident in yourself when you're moving into this space. Take time to plan what you feel good in, what you want to play up, and who you're presenting to. Number 5, rewrite your speaking story. Now, in my program, Behaving Bravely, I teach a framework called Septennials, which really looks at how we've attached a story to a particular word over time. And maybe that story needs some editing. So I know personally there are 3 key times when I was silenced as a kid that had a ripple effect as I moved into becoming a teenager and then becoming a young adult in my early career. And that without addressing it, I would have carried forward in my business. And my business may not have been successful if I didn't understand what to do with this public speaking fear. When I was really little, my mum silenced me for being a bragger, and I was given that message of no one likes a bragger. Children should be seen and not heard. Perhaps you can relate to that one. When I was also in primary school, a little bit older, I decided to share too much information on watching Jaws, which I probably shouldn't have shared with my 4th grade class, and once again was silenced. And perhaps you shouldn't share that much information. These stories are important to understand. The more that you can look at your view of how you have been encouraged or been silenced with your public speaking, the more you can start to write a new story and really understand that perhaps something that you had developed to keep you safe isn't going to serve you moving forward. So I'll drop the link to the program down below because it may be one of the most important ones to overcoming your fear of public speaking. So really take some time to explore what your speaking backstory is and look at how you can work through that fear. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, comment below with your favorite takeaway from today, and share this video with someone you know who's looking to bravely step up, speak up, or start something new in business and life. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.